What would you say is one, what you used to label as a flaw? Something maybe that you tried to hide before? You're like, man, like, I don't know if this is actually good for me. And then it turned out to be your superpower.
That is a great question, and I have the exact answer for that. I think the number one thing that it's funny that I say this, that used to be a flaw, that I used to think was a flaw, but now is my superpower, is my ability to be
My brother from another mother, man. I appreciate you, Mr.
Appreciate you.
Lyle
How you doing?
McCombs. Thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Bro, dude, so real quick, man, I just wanted to bring you in here to have a conversation with you, bro. Share my appreciation for you and highlight some things that I see in you and just kind of get you to talk about these things that I see, and maybe you can elaborate on some of these things too.
I could.
So I met you a couple years ago, maybe what, 3 years ago, 4 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
And I always
Whenever I started working here, 3 years ago. Yep.
What, 3 years ago? Is that when you first started working here at Lifetime?
Yeah, 3.5. It's been 3.5 years. Yep.
And I remember you, when I think about Lyle, I think about it being 4 o'clock in the morning under the railroad tracks and us being in passing of each other and saying, what's up? What's up? How you doing?
Yep.
And then slowly but surely, small talk started happening. And I think maybe you're asking, like, what are you doing up this early? I was like, what are you doing up this early?
Yeah, I just had to ask some questions because we kept crossing paths, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew it wasn't coincidence.
Yeah, man.
So we had to dig deeper into that. So we did.
Yeah, dude. And it's been an honor to know you, man, and to get to know you even more so. And there's a couple things that I just want to bring up and acknowledge about you that really stands out to me. One of them being your competitive edge. I think some people might get even turned off by this. I know people get turned off by this within me too, because like if I play Monopoly, I just don't want to win. I want to annihilate everybody on the board. Like tears, the more tears, the better. Like if I can make you cry, it's even better. And I sense that competitive edge from you too, right? Also, another thing, like you don't have any sort of like hesitation to say when something's wrong or when something's right. Like you will call the motherfucker out.
Yeah.
And I've seen people get teary-eyed when you call them out, and that's something I love about you too, man.
Yeah.
But also the last thing that I've noticed about you is your work ethic, dude. You're just a hard-ass worker, man. But you work smart, but you're a hard worker. And when I say that, I think about a person who doesn't allow bullshit. Like you don't put up with bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, can you speak on those things?
Yes, I think all three of these things that you mentioned just have a lot to do with the way I grew up in my background. You know, I grew up not in the most comfy of situations. 4 kids, single parent home, and I wanted to do something great. You know, so you know I played football and I was pretty good at it. Took it far, and I think my journey through playing football, through high school, through college, even the professionals, I think just playing that sport and the demands of the sport and being great at the sport build these things in you. They build that competitiveness. They build that that willingness to not let shit go by, and we have to bring it to the table so we can speak about it, right? Like a lot of times, a lot of people's relationships are flawed and weird because they won't address things because it might make it weird, or you know, they don't set boundaries with themselves, so now they feel some type of way about that person, but you didn't address it. So how can you feel some type of way? We have to address these things. Everything has to be straightforward. I'm a big fan of straightforward communication because that's how the family moves forward, whatever it is. Your immediate family, your clients that you work with, it has to be straightforward communication. If you're feeling some type of way, you have to tell me. And because I know for me, if I'm feeling some type of way, I'm going to tell you. I don't care how you feel about it because I have to feel good too. It can't be just you feeling good. So I think, you know, a lot of people's happiness is they hinder themselves from happiness because they don't want to address certain things because of how somebody else may feel. But me personally, I want to make sure I feel good and that I communicate everything in a straightforward manner. That call you out thing is that's the way I show love. You know, like if I love you, I'm gonna call you out on your shit. I'm not just gonna let you do anything because we got to be great. And that, again, this comes from playing football. You can't let your teammate just slack off, you know. And because you know your teammate's success is your success, so if you let your teammate slack off, you're pretty much letting yourself slack off. So I bring that to everything, you know, as if I care about you, you know. So I'm forgetting the third thing. You said the competitiveness. You'll call somebody out, and
You don't allow bullshit into your life.
yeah, no, I have boundaries. Yeah, I have boundaries. And again, this is just a thing about my personal happiness. I'm a big believer that, you know, I work a job. I'm a personal trainer. I have to pour a lot of energy into people, and I can't pour any energy into somebody unless I have energy myself. And so when my energy is getting drained by something, you know, whatever it is, I have to address it and put the boundary on it. I have to let you know, because if not, I'm not going to be happy, and then that's going to leak out, you know. And I know one thing about me too is that my energy is contagious. So if I'm not feeling good about a situation, you're going to know. And so I have to address it, or else you're going to have to ask me, and there's just going to be that weird wall. We're not going to let, you know, I don't like that. We're going to address it now. And if you can't accommodate what I demand from the situation, then we can go our separate ways. That's cool. But you have to know, at least, you know, I'm not going to drag things through the mud and accept behaviors for being nice or whatever. I have to be happy, and the boundary has to be set. Like, that's just, I don't know, it's just how I am. So there's that.
What's one thing that differentiates you from other people? One thing that sets you apart?
I think it's my mental toughness. I think I'm just mentally tougher than a lot of people. I know how to go through a process and go through the hard days of something without being so unfocused and thrown off from the goal. And yeah, you know, the ability to suck it up, like, I have that. I think that's the number one thing. I think I'll, you know, in competition with anybody, with anything, no matter what it is, you might be better than me, but I just think I'll outlast you just because I'm mentally tougher than most people. And I think that's going to carry me along in anything that I do. I think that's the number one thing for me. And again, that stems from, you know, the life I lived and the background that I have, and playing football and things like that, man. It builds a mental toughness in you that, to be honest, not until recently did I realize that not many people have. You know, people just don't have that grit and that grind and that mental toughness, and I think that's what separates me. Not only do I have it, but I think I have it at a high level.
Yeah, I think you do too. What would you say is one, what you used to label as a flaw? Something maybe that you tried to hide before? You're like, man, like, I don't know if this is actually good for me. And then it turned out to be your superpower.
That is a great question. And I have the exact answer for that. So I think the number one thing that, it's funny that I say this, that used to be a flaw, that I used to think was a flaw, but now is my superpower, is my ability to be myself unapologetically, right? Like, to show my personality to everyone with no curtains over the veil, right? Like, no, like, this is me. Like, giving all of me to people, I used to think when I did that, that was a bad thing, because not everybody is going to take lightly to Lyle's personality. But, you know, lately, specifically, it's been a superpower in my personal training business and running my classes, to where now I'm just unapologetically me. I don't really hold back myself when there's people that I think won't like me or around. And so what it does is it attracts the people that are for me, and the people who aren't, it repels them, and it brings more genuine relationships. It brings more business. And for my personal training business, it's been the ultimate superpower, just being myself unapologetically and not worrying about what others think. I think that's the main thing. That's the one thing that I've done in the last 4 or 5 years that has really made a difference for me. Like, just being unapologetically you. Don't worry about what anybody thinks. You're you. And the people that love you, they'll accept you, you know, and the people that don't, it's okay, you know. And just having that mindset of not caring what people think, like, you know, being confident in yourself. I think that something I used to do that I used to think like, maybe I should tone that down, but now I can see what a superpower it is, for sure.
I love that answer, man. Last question here?
Yeah.
What is one mindset that you love to connect with not just with friends and family, but clientele too. Like who do you love to work with? What are they going through that where they're like, dude, I need this. I need to shift. I need to change.
That's a great question. The mindset that I'm attracted to is, we could spin this a lot of ways, but you know, I like-minded people who are like me, right? So I like people who display discipline. I like people who I see are focused on something, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of people who say they want to do things but get distracted by whatever else is going on. But when I see someone that's really focused on something and really trying, that's just something that attracts me, you know. I like people who set goals also. I'm very goal oriented, so if I see that, man, I have a goal that I want to do this, and like I'm all for that, especially when it's a big goal. You know, I like people that are goal oriented, disciplined, and focus. I like focus, and then people too who need these things. Maybe they're aware they don't have discipline, they don't have focus. I can provide that for you, because the discipline and the focus is top tier over here. So I like helping people with that, and I also like people who possess these things, because the relationship just works. And it's kind of the only people I want to be around too, if that makes sense. I don't really want to be around people who lack focus and discipline. No offense to them, but you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Any closing words, bro? This is part 1 of part 2, because I'm realizing that there's just so much more I want to ask you and dive deeper into.
Closing words on part 1 is I think, you know, just to harp on the be myself thing. I think that's the biggest change that I've made in the last 4 or 5 years. That has really been the change that I've seen make a huge difference in my life. Is that if you just, and I think everybody should do it, you know, like just, there's a lot of times we want to shield part of ourselves from people because we don't want to be judged. But if you actually bring those things out, you'll quickly find out who's for you, who's not for you. And it's just going to make life easier. On a social side, it's going to make business better. It has for me, if you work with people, you know, and it's a certain freedom that I'll never let go, you know, just being myself and not caring what anybody thinks about it. Because at the end of the day, I know I'm a good person that has good intentions. So if you can judge me, and that's fine. But, you know, I have a freedom that I can be myself freely and walk about this world in that manner without being afraid to let it out. And because of that, it's just attracted so many good things to me. So be yourself, unapologetically, I would say, is my final word, because it's made a difference for my life, for sure.
Mr. Lyle, thank you so goddamn much, man.
No problem, brother. No problem. Love it, dude. Yeah, and we do this. That's why I wanted to fuck the food. We could have got to the recording so we had more time, but it's all right. We could do this whenever, bro.